Great news for Convention of States fans, which I am. Woohoo! It's actually Mark Meckler who impressed me to press in and get involved into politics at a candidate level. And Governor DeSantis just threw down the gauntlet, so to speak, and challenged Elon Musk to not create a third party, but hey, join the Convention of States movement. It happened in Jacksonville, Florida today, and I was there. Take a listen.
This idea of this Elon Musk political party, and I just want to say, I think Elon Musk has been, one of the most innovative entrepreneurs, not just in our country's history, but probably in world history. And I think he's done a lot. I think he's got a lot more left in the tank. Obviously, I appreciated his efforts in the 2024 election, and I've been a big supporter of the idea of the DOGE. Because the federal government's spending way too much money. We've adopted that in Florida, even though we have a budget surplus and are paying down debt, and we have the second lowest spending per capita of all 50 states. But we're still doing it in Florida because you always want to do better. But when Elon was in the at DOGE, there were grants that had been done that we rejected in Florida. We would call Elon, they would cancel it immediately. We sent over almost $1 billion to where they were able to recover. There were DEI, there was stuff we're not doing. And so there was a lot that was done that was very, very positive. And so I think I've been a big fan of what he's done. The problem is when you do another party, especially if you're running on some of the issues that he talks about, that would end up, if he funds Senate candidates and House candidates in competitive races, that would likely end up meaning the Democrats would win all the competitive Senate and House races. And so look, I'm a Republican, I don't want to see that happen. I think if you want to, get involved and hold accountable, we do have a problem in the Republican Party with these DC congressmen. They always run saying there's out of control spending and they're going to spend less, and they never do it. And so there's a gap between the campaign rhetoric and then the performance. Elon was doing DOGE, and a lot of Congress didn't want anything to do with actually adopting the DOGE cuts, just like they haven't wanted to adopt the Trump executive orders on immigration and all these other things, which I think you have to adopt in law if you want them to have staying power. So I think there is a lot of frustration with the gap between the rhetoric in their district and the performance once they get into DC. But the way you do that is expose that in a primary and show that there's another way forward. Honestly, if you're concerned about the debt, I wouldn't even worry about that, because I don't think just electing a few better people is going to change your trajectory. We need the incentives in Washington are going to lead to these outcomes, really regardless of the outcome of elections at this point. So you need to do a balanced budget amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and you can do that through the states. You can do it through Article 5. We've got 28 states that have approved this. There's another 4 or 5 that are on the docket. Once you hit 34, then you write an amendment, and then the states are able to ratify that. You need 3/4. If Elon wanted to weigh in on that and work on those state legislatures, he would have a monumental impact on doing this. And we also need term limits for members of Congress. I think if you did that, all of a sudden, that moves the needle on both of those issues. Under Article 5 of the Constitution, you are going to see major positive changes, but you have to change the incentives and the structures up there, because we've seen it time and time again. You have the rhetoric, same results. When it comes to debt. And so this is one way to do it, and it's within our grasp to do it. Florida's already certified both of those. Term limits has really gained a lot of steam over the last couple of years. There was only 1 or 2 states that had done it like 5 or 6 years ago. Now you've got a lot more. Balanced budget amendment has been out there for a long time. A lot of people have wanted to do it. That's very close. And if you do those things, then I think you actually have a chance to really change Congress. But as it is now, even if somehow a third party could elect some people that were, so-called fiscal conservative, I don't think it would even move the needle, even if they got elected. And we know that they wouldn't get elected because it's really 1 or 2 parties. So you're either just taking votes away from one side or the other is really how it ends up doing. So, I'm a believer in trying to work this stuff out through the Republican process rather than do that. But I think even more than that, doing these amendments, which are within our grasp. It doesn't require Congress. You can do it through Article 5 and do it through the states. That would have a huge impact on the trajectory of the country. In the late 90s, they were one vote away in the U.S. Senate from passing a balanced budget amendment. It would have had to have been ratified by the states, but I think it would have been at the time. Now, we had a budget surplus federally at the time. Just imagine how different our fiscal trajectory would be right now had that balanced budget amendment passed 26, 27 years ago. I mean, we wouldn't be having some of these debates about all the mounting debt. And so we were very close to doing it. And I think because we were in pretty good fiscal shape, I think people just said it was better to not, the swing votes. Well, why tie hands? Things are going well. But had they done that, man, we would be in really good shape. So let's do a balanced budget amendment, tie the hands of the big spenders, term limit them so they can't ensconce themselves in office for decades like Nancy Pelosi. I don't know why. I mean, like, if she were to run a hedge fund with her stock trades, I mean, man, she would make a lot of money. So why don't we do that? That is achievable, and especially, I mean, if somebody as significant as Elon wants to get in the game on that, he will have I think, very consequential impact on that, and I think would be just the type that could bring this across the finish line. And wouldn't we want to see these guys have some limits on how much damage that they can do? So I think Washington needs to be overall the 100%. I just don't think a third party is going to do it, but I do think these amendments can make a big difference. Okay, thanks everyone. God bless.
Praise God, there truly is a way out. And our framers, the founding fathers of our Constitution, this great nation that we all are so blessed to live in, put it right in the Constitution under Article 5. Sign your petition in the link below. Sign your petition. All 50 states, it goes to your representative that you support, reining back this federal government through the method that is already established with Article 5 in the Constitution. The founding fathers of our nation were God-fearing men and women, and they knew that if the government got so powerful, it would never limit its own power and authority. And we're excited to save America with you. Unify. We need unity like never before, because if there's one thing the demoncrats have done, it's unify and stand strong no matter what comes their way. We can do it better because we got Jesus. Elon, we appreciate everything you have done, and thank you so incredibly much, Governor DeSantis, for your continued support of Convention of States.